You're watching Expert Insights.
Good day. This is Michael Simpson, Portfolio Manager of the NCM Dividend Champions Fund, and it is Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. First of all, we have a new administration in the US. President Trump really likes tariffs. What both parties or sides will agree on, and even people here in Canada, tariffs are effective at raising revenue, but that's where the agreement ends. So tariffs are a form of a tax. They actually punish companies, they punish consumers. The world economy has grown quite immensely over the last 50 years from a reduction in tariffs and trade barriers. We're hopeful and optimistic that the new Prime Minister and his cabinet will focus on the economy. They will work on policies that reduce internal trade barriers in Canada, which will be a positive for Canada. They will also work on our trade relations with the US, which is crucial. But we think over time, Canada will continue to lobby and make the very strong case that we are a good, reliable trading partner with the US. And we're optimistic that the tariff levels between Canada and the US can come down. We have a new screen that deals with the usual factors of companies: cash flow generation, dividends, ability to grow your dividend, competition within the industry. We're also looking at the impact of tariffs, i.e. direct. Who do you sell to? What are your inputs? What are your primary inputs? What are your intermediate inputs to making your product, or what's required to perform your service? So all this is important. So we've seen a dramatic bounce back in the market. In the US, the S&P 500 is almost up 19-20% off its lows. We are a little bit wary of this strong rebound. What we're seeing as we're talking with companies is a slowdown in Canada and also a slowdown in the US. When you talk to the most basic industries, waste removal, we have a position in Republic Services, which has been very steady. They have the ability to pass on price because it's within their contracts. They have contracts that are tied to CPI, the Consumer Price Index, but they're not seeing a lot of volume growth. Volume growth comes from new businesses starting, comes from new housing starting. It comes from construction and demolition projects. So we're looking to be more cautious in the fund. The fund currently has over 7% cash. Also, another factor I've been saying for a number of years is the Canadian market is much cheaper. This year, in the Dividend Champions, we've seen two companies, Andlauer Healthcare being taken out by UPS, and Parkland Industries, which I've known for many years, being taken out by Sunoco, a US company. So this means there's still opportunity in Canada. The majority of the portfolio is large to mid-cap. There's only a few small names. The small names are there not because they're small, but for their merits. Now is not a raging bull market. Now is a period of uncertainty, a period of concern over slowing growth. So this is where we traditionally have done well. This is where we traditionally, our homework has paid off, looking for good companies that can not only pay a dividend, sustain a dividend, but grow the dividend. And also, it's important to realize many of you back there may own BCE, but they recently cut their dividend by 56%. Although we're not perfect, we didn't own BCE because although the yield may have been seductive at 10, 11, I think it got upwards of 12%, but we saw a dividend cut coming. I was telling people BCE would cut their dividend by 50 to 60%, and it was cut by 56%. It's crucial this time not just to blindly invest, but to do your work and to be actively involved in dividend companies and dividend champions. So what I'm leaving you with is there's still room for opportunities for growth. We think that tariffs may be still around. We may not eliminate the uncertainty to zero, but we're seeing a lot of good discounted opportunities in Canada. And we never blindly invest. We invest to safeguard the downside. And that is what we're doing at the Dividend Champions at NCM.
Dear financial advisors, you were made for times like these. The times when nothing seems right, and the ones when anything seems possible. Your advice turns potential into reality. It makes dreams come true. And through it all, there's one investment company that's made for you.